In the Shakta tradition, the worship of divine energy, Shiva is the never-changing, eternal, pure consciousness, and his consort is the Shakti, the divine energy. While Shiva is omnipresent and inactive element or pure consciousness, Shakti is the manifestation of this energy which creates the universe. Shiva is transcendental, beyond human experience, while Shakti is the eminent which can be experienced. While Shiva is the masculine nature of the universe, Shakti is the feminine nature of the universe. While Shiva is the underlying reality of the universe which makes things alive, and Shakti is the force and energy that makes things moving. The universe is not possible without Shiva and Shakti, hence they are one. Hello, welcome to the world of eYogi Gurukul, where we explore the spirituality and science of Hinduism. Today we are going to explore that feminine divine energy, the Shakti, its science and spiritual aspect. So, in this lecture, we are looking at the Navaratri, science and the Bhakti of Shakti. This is our Hinduism lecture course 361. So, what we are going to look at today in our agenda is the science behind Navaratri. What is Navaratri? Bhakti of Shakti, the worship of the divine mother goddess, and the Shakti, the power and energy. So, it's the consciousness and energy. What exactly the devotion or worship, how exactly you do it. So we're going to explore that in this lecture. Then we're going to explore the Shaktism, the worshipping of the Divine Mother. What is the science behind this? And then we're going to explore the Shakti Peethas. There are 51 Shakti Peeth out there. What is the real legend behind this Shakti Peeth? And then we're going to look at the Devi Pooja. So when you want to worship the Divine Mother, Goddess Shakti, what is the sequence? What are the different mantras, slokas, stutis, Stotram? What is in reality, what is in comprehensive list of that? So we're going to look at that. And then there are key 3 strot or stutis for Durga when you pray to the goddess. And these have become very popular over the time. And they have a very huge Poranic significance as well. So Durga Kavach, Argala Stotram and Keelak Stotram. So we're going to look at those 3 Stotram. And then we're going to look at the Poranic significance of Durga prayer or worship of the Mother Goddess Durga. So the whole history, the tale of Durga comes from various Puranas. And one of the Purana is called Markandeya Purana. So the Markandeya Purana, chapter 81 to 93, the 13 chapters of this Purana have become very popular, and they describe the exact battle which has taken place where Durga has won against the demons, the Asuras. So these 13 chapters or the 700 slokas are also called Durga Saptasati. They are also called as Devi Mahatyamam, and some other parts they are also called as Chandi Part. So we are going to explore each chapter of that and its significance in detail. And finally, we're going to look at the spiritual significance of Navaratri. What exactly it means to us. What is the energy? And what are the significant values and traditions we need to adopt from Navaratri. So with this, let's move on straight into the science behind Navaratri. So when you want to understand that science, let's understand few things beforehand. That this Mother Nature, which also has feminine in nature, so this Mother Nature, whenever it changes its behavior pattern, and these are called transitions. So whenever the Mother Nature is changing or transitioning from one phase to another phase, what are those phases in a year or in a season or in a day? So let's start from the very beginning. The first one is called within a day when Mother Nature changes its transition, called Trikala. So 3 times of the day. These are the sandhyas, we call them. And then the second time, what happens is that this is based on the lunar cycle. So Mother Nature is also changing its kind of pattern. So whenever based on the moon cycle, the lunar phases, there are 2 phases take place. One is dark moon, other one is full moon. So the full moon is called Purnima, and the dark moon is called Amavasya as per the Hindu calendar. So that's the second nature of the transition. The third one, when the sun is changing its path. So there are 2 paths it follows, and one for the northern hemisphere and the second is the southern hemisphere. We call it Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. And the last one, which is the seasonal shift happening. There are 4 seasons: the winter, the spring, the summer, and the autumn. So let's look at each one of these in detail and then understand the science behind Navaratri. So first one is Trikala, right? The 3 times of the day. Obviously, we all know that the first one is called Brahma Sandhya, Brahma Muhurta, very auspicious day in Hinduism. This is the time where mind is cool and calm in a very meditative stage, where if you invoke emotions, if you sit down with your mind in a quiet place, you will basically understand the underlying reality. And that's why the Brahma Muhurta, specifically from 3:45 a.m. to 4 a.m. is the time we say is a time where one should start basically practicing meditation. So Brahma Muhurta, very important time in the day. And the second was Vishnu Muhurta, which is the noon time frame. And then the last one is the Mahes, which is the Sandhya time. So morning, noon, and evening, 3 times. If you want to look at how many times one should pray, these are the 3 auspicious times in Hinduism. Next one is lunar moon phases. So Hindu calendar is based on lunar phases, based on moon cycle. So most of the Hindu festivals are based on Hindu calendar, which is based on moon. So each day of the moon and its phase has a significance in Hinduism. So Purnima, which is the full moon, the brightest one, and the Amavasya, which is the dark moon, basically where there is no light. So waxing phase is from Amavasya to Purnima, and waning phase from Purnima to Amavasya. And the way Hindu calendar works is that, say for example, you start on the Amavasya day, which is a dark moon day. From that day, the next day you start counting 1. So it becomes Pratipada. Pratipada is the just name for first. So that's the first day. Then Dvitiya, second. Then Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dasami, Ekadasi. That's Ekadasi, 11th day. Very important day. Many fasting practices are basically done on this particular day, auspicious day in Hinduism. Then Dwadasi, Trayodasi, Chaturdasi, and then comes the Purnima, the full moon. And straight after Purnima, you go again back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence up to 14. So Pratipada, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi. The reason we are mentioning that the entire Hindu calendar is based on these dates, and every day has a specific significance. And some of these days are associated with different deities, gods and goddesses. So people fast on certain days, on certain things. Then the next one is the path of the sun, Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. Once again, very important in Hinduism, these 2. And you can see how Hinduism is so well connected with the mother nature, with the astrology, astronomy, the whole science basically. You will see even more in coming slides. The earth rotates on its axis basically, but it's not straight. It's tilted 23.5 degrees. It's not like this. It's 23.5 degree of tilt. This causes the hemispheric difference, which leads to different seasons like winter and summer. So if you want to understand the 4 seasons which are created today, they are purely happening because of the earth being tilted on its axis. So it's like this. If the earth is not like straight, it's like tilted. 23.5 degree. And when it rotates around the sun, that causes basically the different weather pattern. So if you split this orange in half, that's the upper half is the hemi, and because this is a sphere, so it's a hemisphere. So the top part of that hemisphere is called northern hemisphere. In Hinduism, we call it Uttarayana, and the bottom part is called Dakshinayana and southern hemisphere. So in northern hemisphere, what happens is the summer months are normally May, June, July, June 21st to September 21st, normally called it. Sunrise is northeast, peak out slightly out of the overhead point. Sunset is in the northwest. And Dakshinayana has summer months November, December, January, and usually from September 21st to January 21. And sunrise is southeast, peaks out slightly north of the overhead point, sunset in the southwest. Like Australia and South Africa, their winter is totally opposite to the people who are living in Ireland and India, because we're in northern hemisphere, they're in southern hemisphere. Now, why we're mentioning there? Because whenever we move, whenever the sun comes into the Uttarayan, it becomes a very auspicious day for us. And most of the Hindu festivals are basically marked around those dates when sun is moving from one hemisphere to another one. So one of them is when sun moves, transits into Makar or Capricorn, it becomes a very auspicious day, usually on 14th and 15th of January every year. The following festivals, there's a huge list of festivals that takes place on that particular day. One of the festival called Makar Sankranti, because it's moving into the Makar, so it becomes very popular across India and globe. This is celebrated very, with high energy and vibes. Magh Bihu in Assam, Assamese people celebrate that. Maghi is another one, and Maghi is preceded by Lohri in Punjab, Pongal in Tamil Nadu, and Guguti in Uttarakhand, and Pedda Pendaga in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Posh Sankranti in West Bengal, Khichdi in Uttar Pradesh, and people also fly kites on this particular day. And Kumbh Mela, whenever it happens after every 3-year rotation, it begins on this particular day, Uttarayana. So see the sun's movement, basically how it travels, the festivals are based on that. Another thing is the weather pattern is changing, crops are changing, harvesting is changing, the way it's the farmers, the whole entire humanity is based on farming, and that's how we evolved. So on these dates, they align with the crop season, they align with this other things, and that's how these festivals are linked with science and also linked with the lunar phase and sun path. Now let's look at the seasons. So the 4 Navaratris, right? You will say 4. Yes, there are 4 Navaratri. It's not the 2 common Navaratri what you experience, one in around March, April time frame, other one is September, October time frame. There are in fact 4 Navaratris. And these 4 Navaratris, remember we just talked that there are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, autumn. So for each season, there is one Navaratri attached to it. So if you look at from the left to right in this slide, that you have Magh Navaratri, which if you are in the northern hemisphere and Uttarayan, then Magh Navaratri is basically starts in winter, which is the January-February season. Vasanta Navaratri, which is also called Chaitra Navaratri, it falls on spring and March to April time frame. This is the one Navaratri which is celebrated most. Then come the Asad Navaratri, which is less common one during the summer months in northern hemisphere, again June to July time frame. Then comes the Sarad Navaratri, which is also called as Maha Navaratri. It falls on the autumn and September to October time frame. Now this particular Navaratri is called Maha Navaratri because on the Dasami, on the 10th day of it, there is a Vijay Dasami or Dashera. It's also a major festival is celebrated. And the Vasant Navaratri, which is the Chaitra Navaratri, on that Navaratri, basically, there is a birth of Rama. Ramanavami takes place. Now, what is Navaratri? Let's understand it. What is Navaratri? Before we go down exact science of it. So Nava means 9 and Ra means that gives solace and 3 means 3. So Navaratri is Ratri is what basically it gives a solace of 3 types. So what are these 3 types of solace? Solace from comfort or solace from physical pain, mental suffering and causal past karmas. So in essence, the Navaratri is the 9 nights, that nights where one seeks solace from all the sufferings and gets regenerated. The 9 nights resembles the 9 months of the mother's pregnancy and a new child when it is born. After 9 nights of solace, one makes a fresh start in the life. So Navaratri is the 9 basically nights where people are getting basically regenerated and born with a fresh energy. That's Navaratri. Now try to understand what Navaratri is all about, right? What is the science and how Navaratri is linked to it? So when you look at the science side of, what is happening, we said the nature, Mother Nature is changing its transitions. So 4 Navaratris are well aligned with the 4 seasonal changes. So if season changes, what happens when the Mother Nature is changing seasons? Flu seasons usually occur. We experience 2 flu seasons mainly in a year. One whenever we move from winter to summer and then another one from summer to winter. So whenever you do winter to summer mostly occurs from March, April time frame, and second summer to winter mostly occurs in autumn, September to October time frame. Right there aligns our dates of Navaratri. So 2 Navaratri, Chaitra Navaratri is taking place from winter to summer change and Sarad or Maha Navaratri taking from summer to winter change. Why? The thing is, there is a diet change. The human, what we are eating, it's changing. Why is it changing? Because the crops are changing. What we were harvesting in one season is not being harvested in the next season. So crops pattern is changing. As a result, whenever the season is changing, humans, because we were farmers, right? So our diet pattern is changing. So if diets are changing, one is moving from a winter diet where you're eating more kind of energy food. Now you're going with a simple food. So that's one thing. So to do that, you have to detoxify your body. Even modern science is clearly telling us today that it takes 7 to 10 days to detoxify your body. So Navaratri is also 9 days. Then when the flu season comes, during the flu seasons, the most important thing is all about hygiene. One has to maintain a very high level of hygiene. So how Navaratri is aligning with these requirements of the science is with the seasonal changes is during the Navaratri, you eat less spicy food, you eat simple food, you eat vegetarian food. And this is literally what you're doing is you're preparing your body to adopt those changes. And then on top of that, people are eating more juices and waters and liquids, then consuming the actual hard food. So in a way, these are the things which you are using to detoxify your body. And it is practiced for 7 to 10 days, which aligns with the requirement as well, that you need 7 to 10 days to detoxify your body. A lot of people just eat potatoes during the whole Navaratri season. Just one time, potatoes. So literally you're preparing your gut system for that. Then comes the very important hygiene aspect of Navaratri. Before prayers, one takes a bath. If you're praying 2 times, most people take bath 2 times, morning and evening. So, and then on top of that, if you're preparing, basically first take the bath, you're going to perform the puja. If you're performing the puja, you have to give bhoga or prasadam, the first offering of the food to the deity, to the mother goddess. So you will be preparing it for the food. So you take the bath, you clean the kitchen, you clean the utensils, and then nobody else is allowed in that kitchen. So the food is completely prepared in a very hygienic way and then offered first to the Lord, to the goddess. That's how the whole hygiene level is maintained during this entire time period. Next is self-discipline. Now, because you're changing your routine from one food habit to another food habit, so it takes time to adopt to a new habit. So if you want to develop a habit today, even the motivational speakers are telling, like, you need 10 to 30 days, minimum 10 days to develop a mini habit. Navaratri is also 10 days, 9 nights, 10 days. So what you're practicing for Navaratri for 9 days is a very strong discipline life. So a disciplined life can only lead you to any such changes in food, diet, and all that. So mental strength, another thing which you're developed, we need, because you're weak during the Navaratri, because of the flu season, because of the weather. The mind is having high and low emotions. To deal with that, you need to build your mental strength. So how do you do in the Navaratri to counter these things is, first, you're fasting. You're taking a vrata. Vrata is a vow or devotion, is a practice. Basically, it means you are accepting certain rules and regulations and restrictive discipline along with upavasa or fasting. And today, the science, I'm telling you, not only one, there are hundreds of papers published today proving the benefit of intermittent fasting. That it helps your gut system, it helps in weight loss reduction, and it's best for your health, the intermittent fasting. And Navaratri is the 9 days of continuous fasting. So that helps you. Then once you're basically, what you're doing is during Navaratri, you're waking up early with the sunrise. So when you wake up with the sunrise for 10 days repetitively, you have built a habit, because the days are getting longer. And along with, you're preparing your body for 10 days, waking up on time with the sunrise and doing the pujas and prayers or worshipping the mother goddess on same time and in evening. So you have built a 10 days of habit. On 11th day, you don't need to remember. You're just following the habit. So you're adopting, your body is changing, adopting the seasonal shift. Then on top of that, because it's a flu season, the weather pattern is changing, and human emotions are high and low. To build the mental strength, one has to seek, towards what you're doing is you're building your mind by focusing on something, which is in this case a mother goddess, which when you're weak, what you need? Energy. Who's the symbolism of energy in Hinduism? The mother goddess, the divine nature of this mother nature. And that's what you're praying for. Give me strength. And invoking those mantras, those stotras, those stutis, all that gives you energy, invokes the energy from within and invokes the whole surroundings. And the whole environment becomes filled with joy, pleasure, power, energy. It's all about energy during these 9 days. So that vibrance is building the strength from inner and creating an environment within the house, within the home, and within other family members, that the whole atmosphere becomes so auspicious that it lifts everyone's mood very high, and that's how you're becoming very strong mentally during Navaratri. So, in essence, the science behind Navaratri, never underestimate our rishis. They were the great scientists of ancient time, and they realized that any time, any practice which is good for us, they made it part of tradition. That's how thousands and thousands of traditions emanating from 140,000 scriptures of Hinduism, they have deep science behind them, and Navaratris happen to be one of them. So in essence, Navaratri is preparing ourselves for the seasonal change to help our body to adopt to the new season. That's what the Navaratri is. So let's look at the history of Navaratri now. It is very difficult to date that Navaratri started on this particular day. Very hard. Because this is a thousands and thousands of years old tradition. This celebration has not just started in a particular date. It is going on forever, basically. And it's a tale of Durga, a fierce form of divine mother who rides a lion and conquers the evil Mahishasura. So it's basically that power and energy. And in Hinduism, the concept of a divine feminine aspect of God can be traced back as far as the written text exists. The human memory exists. Basically, as long as we have a memory, that's far it goes, that we're praying to the feminine aspect, the female aspect of the God. The first text of humanity, the Vedas, they have several aspects of divine forces of the universe listed there. Ramayana contains prayers of Divine Mother and Shakti. The 10th day of Sharad Navaratri is also known as Vijayadashmi, which is Dasera, also known as Dasera, where the Rama defeated the evil king Ravana. So Mahabharata also contains prayers of Divine Mother and Shakti. Several Poranic texts full of details about Mother Goddess and praying for Shakti. One of the texts is fascinating text is Markandeya Purana. Chapter 81 to chapter 93 is the most influential text of Shaktism, and it has 700 slokas, 13 chapters, and it's called Durga Saptasati. Because Sapta means 7 and Sati means 100, so 700 slokas. It is also called Chandi Path or Devi Mahatyamam, the glories of the Devi. The Puranas have their origin in oral tradition. This is very important. People sometimes get confused with this, that Vedas have only oral tradition. Purana, these stories have been told generations after generation. So the Durga Saptasati text, if somebody is dating it, in CE's common eras, they may be mistaken, because these can go far back in our history, thousands of years. So that's the quick, brief history of Navaratri. Let's look at now is Shaktism. Shaktism is basically the worshipping of the divine nature, divine mother, goddess, or Shakti. It's the respect towards the feminine nature of this universe. So Shaktism is one of the major sects in Hinduism. It has various devis, the goddesses, texts, shrines, temples associated with this. So let's look at quickly brief, because since we're talking about Shaktism, the mother goddess today. So the first one is the 9 Durga, the Navadurga, 9 forms of the Shakti. Then we have the 10 Mahavidyas. 10 Mahavidyas are basically the 10 forms of the knowledge, the Maha, the great knowledge, where the mother goddess is also known that whenever it comes talking about knowledge, she is the form of the knowledge. Then 16 Matrikas, then there is another form of 16 Shodash Matrika, and we call them 16 mother goddesses. Then 18 Maha Shakti Peeth. Adi Guru Sankaracharya has listed 18 Shakti Peeth, the places of worship of Shakti, the 18 of them. They are called Maha, the great places. Then there are 51 Shakti Peethas which are listed, and there's a legend behind it, there's a detailed story behind it, what they are. Then 64 Yoginis. These are the Yoginis which are in the Kundalini yoga system, from Muladhara to Sahasrara chakras, how exactly these 64 Yoginis reside, how you can invoke them. These are the 64, the Yoginis, the forms of mother goddesses. And then there are 1,000 names and 108 names of Durgas and 1,000 names of Lalita and Devi Lalita. Then there are Gandharvis, Devis, Apsaras, Yakshinis, different names, different forms of Devis existed in different various Purana texts, various other forms basically. And apart from that, there are various Puranas as well available, which basically totally dedicated for Shaktism. And apart from that, there is another text, Tantra text, which are also part of the Shaktism. So this is a quick brief of Shaktism, means the worshipping of the divine mother goddess, Shakti, which is power and energy. One of the Shakta Agamas, this is one of the also famous types of text. What these are, basically these are called Agamas. The Agamas are the theological treatise and practical manual of divine worship. They include Tantra, Mantra and Yantra. So Yantra, what is Yantra? Yantra refers to the device that are used for balancing of mind. It's like if you want to balance your mind, and these are the quick yantras. And then tantra, which is the ritualistic kind of traditions and meditative practices that acts can be used to get freedom from problems which are basically you can't control. So it's basically rituals, traditions, meditations, techniques, all those mixed together called tantras. And mantras, as you know, mantra is a Sanskrit word which is basically, it's simply referring to a spiritual aspect of a phrase which can be recited to invoke vibrations, to basically invoke some energy within, like Om is a mantra. So these three, when they are coupled together, that becomes agamas. So there are three types of agamas. So there's a Shaiva agama for Shaivism, the followers of the Shivas. There's a Vaishnavism, Vishnu agamas, which is the followers of the Lord Vishnu. And then there is a Shakta agama. Shakta agama is for the followers of the Devi goddess or the Shaktism. Within the Shakta agamas, there are glories of the Devis, the mother goddess. These dwell on the Shakti, the energy aspect of God and basically the divine mother. There are 77 of these Shakta agamas out there. And Shakta agamas, our texts are usually in the form of dialogue. So this is very important. Like what they are is literally in these texts, what's happening there is that Parvati is asking a question to Shiva, and Shiva is answering those questions. And this is a dialogue. So what are these questions? It's about the underlying reality of this universe. What is this universe? Asking Shiva what you are, and then what am I? And then how this whole universe has been created. What are the different yoga techniques? Like that it goes on. So many, many details like that, part of the agamas. So let's look at the Navadurga, right? The 9 forms of Durga. So 9 days, 9 forms. First day, Shailaputri. Second day, Brahmacharni. Third day, Chandraghanta. Fourth day, Kusmanda. Fifth day, Skandamata. Sixth day, Katyayani. Seventh day, Kalaratri. Eighth day, Mahagauri. And ninth day, Siddhidatri. So these are the 9 forms of Durga. If you take the 9 days and break them into 3 segments of 3 days, 3 days, the first 3 days, 1, 2, 3, next 3 days, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, last 3 days. So the first 3 days, if you look at their symbolism, which is energy, the power, and that goes with Devi called Mahakali. And for that, the Durga Kavacham is associated. There is a Strota, Durga Kavacham, which is attached to that. Okay. Then the 4, 5, 6 days, the next set of 3 days, then it's for wealth and prosperity. Obviously, Mahalakshmi, Devi is associated with it, and Argala Stotram is for that. And the 7 and 8 and 9 days, the last 3 days, it's about knowledge. And Maha Saraswati is associated as a Devi with that. And the Strot, which is recited for that, is Keelak Stotram. The beauty of these 3 Strot is that these stutis or strota, or 3 of them, they are, when they are recited during the Navaratri period, they are done on the first day, followed by the Durga Saptasati, 700 slokas of the Durga part or Chandi part. But on any other day, you can recite them separately depending on the Devi you are praying for. Now let's look at the Navadurgas in detail, story behind each Devi. So the day 1 is Shailaputri. On the first day of Navaratri, we worship a form of Shakti called Shailaputri. Goddess Shakti represents a pure divine female power. In Sanskrit, Shaila means mountain and Putri means daughter. So together they mean daughter of the mountain. And this is the legend of the Shailaputri, the daughter of mountain. That's how she was called Shailaputri. The full stories are listed in our website. You can go and read through them. Brahmacharni, on the second day of Navaratri, we worship Ma Brahmacharni. In Sanskrit, Brahma means penance And Charani means a female follower. During her childhood, sage Narada reminded Parvati of her past life as Sati. He told her that there was still a chance for her to marry Shiva. And if she carried out the penances, Parvati practiced a very strict tapa. Means it's like austerity where you are living without food and water, and that will please Shiva. So she practiced it and they got engaged. So that's the legend of Brahmacharya, where she's practicing very strong penance or austerity. Chandraghanta. On the third day of Navaratri, we worship a form of goddess Shakti called Chandraghanta. Parvati didn't want her family or Shiva to feel embarrassed. So Parvati transformed herself into a petrifying form called Chandraghanta. That's one legend. And another legend says that Shiva has a half crescent moon, and he donated that into to Parvati, and that's how because she got this half crescent moon on her, and that's how it's called Chandra, and then Ghanta attached to that and became Chandraghanta, name for the goddess. This is the legend for the third day. The fourth day is Kusmanda. In the fourth day, this form of Shakti is Ma Kusmanda. In Sanskrit, Ku means little, and Usha means energy, and Anda means egg. So together it becomes little cosmic energy. But the story of the Ma Kusmanda goes back to way before the universe was created. Right? It is the little cosmic egg, which from where the entire universe has basically originated. Think about this, right? A little cosmic egg. Today, scientists are basically trying to do a 27-kilometer ring and trying to find, using a hadron collider, that point source of energy, that little energy, right? From where the entire universe came. And here we are also describing the same kind of thing, that the entire universe came from that little cosmic energy, Kusmanda. So Kusmanda Devi is that form of the energy from where the universe came. And it also says this goes back before even universe existed. What a fascinating, science, deep understanding of universe those days by these rishis, great scientists of India. It needs further exploration. Obviously, a lot more research is happening. So you will know more in coming years. Skandamata is the day 5. So the goddess Parvati had another son called Kartikeya. Kartikeya eliminated 2 asuras, and he brought peace to the god. He was the fighter, basically he was the minister, primary fighter for the devas. He was the leader for their army as well. His another name was Skanda. And that's how, because he was Skand and mother was Parvati, that's how Parvati got name as Skanda Mata, mother of Skand. This day 6, we pray Katyayini. Katyayini there was a sage named Katyayan who was dedicated follower of Shakti. And his greatest wish was for her to be born, that he wanted to see a daughter in his family. Meanwhile, when the demon called Mahisasura, who was part kind of buffalo, was growing stronger by day, because of this distress, the devas prayed, and then Shakti came into the form. So then this Shakti was born into the family of the Katyayan, to the Katyayan Rishi. That's how she got the name Katyayani, because Katyayan was his father. So that's how, and then she killed the Mahisasura, the demon Asura, and Devas won the war. So that's the legend of Katyayani on day 6. Kalaratri on day 7. On the 7th day of Navaratri, we worship the form of Shakti, which is Kalaratri, Ma Kali. Kalaratri is believed to destroy all the demons, ghosts, and negative energies. She is also believed to be the destroyer of time and death. Although intimidating in appearance, her appearance is very intimidating, very volatile, and kind of, you see that eyes are burning red hot, and the whole body, and the way she appears. But this Devi, despite all that, she's very kind to their worshippers. Those who worship Kali, she fulfills all the wishes. And this is the legend of Kalaratri, the day 7. Day 8 is Mahagauri. On the 8th day, we worship this Mahagauri. Mahagauri translates to extremely white or fair. Due to extreme penance, the Parvati turned very dark and dirty. Then when Shiva visited her, and Shiva got pleased, and they finally got engaged. But Shiva then cleansed Parvati with the Ganga, with the water of Ganga, river Ganga, and that's how she grew radiantly and called as Mahagauri. So this is the legend of day 8, Mahagauri. Day 9 is Siddhidatri. On this particular day, we worship a form of Devi Durga, which is basically giving siddhi. Siddhi are those wishes, basically, which you want in your life, those powers you want to attain in your life. And Datri means the one who gives. So she's giving these powers and these wishes to anybody who is invoking them, who's praying them, who is doing some level of penance and austerity in their life. Specifically for the 9 days, if you're practicing taking fast, following a strict discipline, and then this is the day when Siddhidatri comes and fulfills your wish, the one which you were basically aiming for after 9 days. So this is where basically, this is the legend of the Siddhidatri of the 9th day. Now let's look at quickly on the 10 Mahavidyas, the 10 forms of Goddess Shakti. So what happened that there's a legend behind it. When Parvati got married with Shiva, one day she wanted to attend the yajna, the fire, the sacrificial fire, which was a very common practice in ancient days and even today, a very common practice. So his father organized, but he did not invite his own daughter for this. Obvious reason, because he was not very happy with Shiva, right? So Parvati took Shiva. She wanted to, despite knowing the descent, Parvati said, I want to visit there. But Shiva said, look, if he's not inviting you, why are you going there? You shouldn't be going there, and maybe you're not capable enough of it. Parvati took those kind of words little differently. She thought Shiva is kind of ignoring her, and maybe Shiva is telling her she doesn't know what's the significance behind yajna, how to perform yajna, because there's a deep science and there's a deep ritualistic and knowledge behind performing fire sacrifices. So then she manifested herself into 10 different forms, and that became 10 Mahavidya. So these 10 forms, she wanted to show Shiva that, look, I also possess so much knowledge. In fact, I have the knowledge, whatever form of knowledge out there, I am that form. And that became basically, thus means 10, Maha means great, and Vidya means knowledge. So 10 great knowledges she performed, she became those forms of 10 Mahavidyas. And these are basically the Kali, Tara, Shodashi, Bhuvaneswari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Baglamukhi, Matangi, and Kamala. What is interesting that each form has its own kind of fulfillment. Some of them are related to, protection from evil forces that are not, for compassion for the God, you want in your life. Another one for getting rid of anger, anxiety, and all that kind of thing. So depending on the region you belong to in India, different set of people, based on their language, their caste, creed, culture, they practice different devis in different forms. So some people in some region pray Baglamukhi, other people pray Kali, some pray all of them. So this is the legend behind 10 Mahavidya, which is another basically part of Shaktism, the Shakta philosophy, 10 Mahavidyas. Another one is called Shodash Matrika, where you have 16 matas, 16 mothers. And these are practiced, these are worshipped in every pujas, And if you are performing a puja in a Vedic method, in a Vedic way, then you are literally, in some cases, there is a Shakta Matrika, 7 goddesses, 7 forms of goddesses you're putting a Saptadhara, Gritadhara, means you're putting the dhars of ghee, flows of ghee, clarified butter you're putting onto the plate, reminding yourself, and significance, invoking the significance of the Shodash, of the Sapta Matrika. Then the Shodash Matrika is the same, but it's 16 Matrikas are out there. So it's Gauri, Padma, Sachi, Medha, Savitri, Vijaya, Jaya, Devasena, Swadha, Swaha, and Matra, Lok Matra, Dhriti, Pushti, Tushti, and Atman Kuldevi. Atman Kuldevi is every person in India, they have their own Kuldevi. So it's the last Kuldevi of your own. So you pray them. So these are the 16 Shodash Matrika in the forms of mother goddesses. Then there are 51 Shakti Peetha, and very beautiful legend behind this as well, the story. So what happened there is, as per the ancient Hindu scripture, the son of Brahma, King Prajapati Daksha, had a daughter named Sati. During Sati's childhood, sage Narad and Brahma came to visit her in the palace. They reminded Sati why she came to this world and her mission to marry Shiva. Years later, Sati decided to carry out a penance. Sati was extremely dedicated. Gods and sages came to watch her. They were blown away, literally, by her extreme focus and passion. So Shiva also observed Sati, and he too was appalled by her devotion. He appeared before Sati and extended her boon, and then Sati asked for them to get married. Shiva granted the boon, and the pair got happily married at Daksha's place. But few years later, Brahma planned a grand yagna with lots of guests, including Shiva and Sati. When Daksha arrived at the event, every soul bowed down to him. The only people who didn't bow down to Daksha were the Brahma and the Shiva, and this provoked Daksha. In a fit of rage, Daksha cursed Shiva. Nandi is basically the bell, the ox of the Shiva, and he became enraged and began to retaliate. When Shiva intervened and assured everyone that he had not been cursed, everyone began to leave. Daksha returned to home with a newfound grudge. A while later, Sati noticed that people were traveling to an event. After inquiring, Sati realized that there was a yagna taking place and being hosted by none other than her own father Daksha. So Sati rushed home and told Shiva about his father yagna, and that there's a yagna being and we are not invited. They said, no, let's go. And they went. But during the yagna, his father ignored both Shiva and Sati. Sati got really, very angry with this. So Daksha proceeded to continuously insulted them. Hearing this insult, Daksha, her family was unbearable for Sati and Shiva, and she was horrified that Daksha also broke their agreement. That he says, I don't care. You're not married in my eyes anymore. So Sati became so humiliated that she threw herself into the fire. And she was gonna explain this painful death of Sati to Shiva. From his hair, Shiva created 2 forms, Veerbhadra and Bhadrakali, and ordered them to destroy the yagna. Veerbhadra got carried away and decapitated Daksha and killed others. After this horrific event, Shiva resuscitated those who died and gave them blessings. Shiva revived Daksha, replacing the decapitated head with the sacrificed sheep head. Daksha apologized to Shiva and spent the rest of his years as a devotee of Shiva. Grief-stricken Shiva started the destruction of the entire universe, carrying Sati's body around the universe, recollecting their memories. Realizing that the destruction of the universe and to pull Shiva out of grief, Vishnu intervened. Lord Vishnu cut the Sati's body into 51 parts, which fell on the earth in 51 different places. The spots where these parts landed became holy sites for people who prayed to this mother goddess. And these 51 sites are called the Shakti Peethas of Hinduism. The goddess Shakti is accompanied by her consort Lord Bhairava, which is a manifestation of Shiva. So whenever there is a Shakti Peeth, there will be also a Bhairav, place for Bhairav, which will be a little bit away from it, but there will be a Bhairav and Shakti, those are together, and Bhairav is the Shiva, none other than the Shiva in the Shakti Peetha. So the question comes that where are the 51 Shakti Peeth of Shaktism, of Devis? So sometimes it has become a little bit difficult to accurately produce a list of 51 Shakti Peeth. Though there's an exact list out there, the only problem is that these names over time had changed. From the ancient time, the same name has been kind of interpreted different ways by different people in the different regions. So as a result, what you will find out there is that there are more than 51 Shakti Peeth exist today. And one of the reasons is also that some of the people out there who have, like, if a Shakti Peeth belongs to my place, it's a place of worship of Shakti. Even though it's not part of the 51 Shakti Peeth, I have a very strong emotion to that place. So I claim that place to be out of the 51 Shakti Peeth. So as a result, what you will find is that you will have more than 51 places of Shakti Peeth out there. But we shouldn't get trapped into this kind of claim of 51 Shakti Peeth. There is definitely a clear list out there, right? Having said that, Adi Guru Sankaracharya came up with a very clear list of 18 Mahapeethas, and some of them are also from Skanda Puran. So what are those 18? You can see clearly the list here, 18 Mahashakti Peeth. Adi Guru Sankaracharya wrote a very clear list and in a shlokas which are shown there as well. So that's the 18 Mahashakti Peeth. Now we go into a very fascinating, interesting topic of 64 Yoginis. What is 64 Yoginis? So Yogini is a female, a feminine version of a yogi, a siddha, a personality which practices the yoga. So it is believed that there are 8 great female Shakti emerged from the universal Shakti called Parasakti. These are called the Ashta Matrika, or divine grandmothers of subsequent yogini. So what you have is that you have universal Shakti, Parasakti, manifesting itself as 8 grandmothers, and then each grandmother has taken 8 different forms of matrikas further. So it manifested further in 8 forms. So as a result, the 8 grandmothers manifesting into 8 different forms, 8 multiplied by 8 becomes 64. Thus comes the 64 yoginis. And these are the 64 yoginis often referred into tantric texts as 64 yoginis, right? The Divine Mother, in these 64 yoginis, the Divine Mother Shakti is called as Mahayogini, the great grand yogini. And like the Brahmacharini, the second day, because she did the tapas and japas, the austerity, the extreme penance to basically get married with Shiva. So she has become a Mahayogini. And Parvati is considered as Mahayogini as well. So Mahayogini concept is also there in Agni Puran, Skanda Puran, Chandi Puran of Saral Das. In many other Hindu scriptures, this term has been used. Lalita Sahasranama and Vishnu Bhagavat Puran, and they also refer to Yogini, a word, and Yoginis. So Yoginis are not only worshipped, this is another important fact, that they're not only worshipped in Hinduism, they're also worshipped in Buddhism and Jainism. So this is about 64 yoginis. There's a lot of interesting facts about them. Basically read through them in more in Google. Lalita Sahasranama. This is another fascinating text out there. What exactly that is the goddess Lalita and her 1,000 names, and they are part of this Sahasranama. So it's an ancient text, comes from Brahmana Purana, and this text is simply the 1,000 names of Mother Goddess Lalita. And Goddess Lalita Devi is a divine manifestation of Shakti, the Mother Goddess. This text is the sacred text, another sacred text of the Shakta tradition, and worshipping Durga, Parvati, Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Bhagavati, and many more Devis. Devi Shakti Lalita is described as being present in the form of Kundalini energy in the Muladhara chakra, which is at the bottom chakra in the Kundalini yoga system, at the bottom of the spine. And then the 60 names of the Yoginis from 475 in the 1,000 name of the list, from 475 to 534 are the 60 Yoginis that are present from Muladhara to Sahasrara chakra in the Kundalini yoga system. So this text is used in various modes of worship of Shakti, and this includes, Parayan, Archana and Homa, basically recitation, Archana and Hom, and where people are practicing this kind of text on their daily life. Let's recap quickly what we have covered in this first part of the video. We looked at the science behind Navaratri. We looked at what is Navaratri. Then we understood what is Bhakti of Shakti, the consciousness and energy, the two aspects of Divine Mother, and Shaktism, the worship of Divine Mother and the science behind it. Then we also explored the various aspects of Shaktism from Navadurga to Das Mahavidya to Shodash Matrika to 64 Yoginis. And finally, we looked at the 18 Maha Shakti Peethas narrated by Adi Guru Sankaracharya and the 51 Shakti Peeth. This concludes the first part of the lecture. Please join us in a separate video to explore the second part, where we are going to explore how to worship the Divine Mother and various literature texts associated with it. There's another good thing that we have developed a web page. If you visit our web page, eyogigurukul.com/Navaratri, there is a lot of resources we have put out there. So you can see our students have written the stories of 9 days, each day for each Durga forms of Durga. There's a story there. There's 100 names of Durga, Devi Suktam for all the Suktas are there, all the Stotrams are there, the whole Durga Saptasati is there. We have added Markandeya Purana there, and 51 Shakti Peetha there, and Lalita Sahasranama there. So there is a ton of information out there, and if you're looking for more, shoot us an email. We'll try to add that. So if you like our video, then please subscribe to our channel, and our website link and other details are below in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.